I'm the best ever. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
Yo, bounce guy, go off.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
Wilder's in a world of trouble, closing seconds. Can he weather the storm here in the third round?
And of all the superlative.
Big right hook, lands flush for Cambosos, and that knocks down Teofimo Lopez. We have ourselves a fight.
Khabib Nurmagomedov gets a triangle choke from up top. Gaethje's out, and the fight is over. The triangle choke for Khabib Nurmagomedov.
And Porter gets knocked down. He gets knocked down again. 10th round TKO win. Left uppercut, and then knocks out Leo. It appears he's out cold. The fight is over. It was a counter left uppercut, and just like that, what a left uppercut. I did not see that coming, ladies and gentlemen. I will have to admit, what a fight.
Nice celebration or a 3K video. I don't know, man. To hit 3,000 subscribers and like
Right hook to the body for Campbell. Left hook to the body for Garcia. And that knocked down Campbell. It was a left hook to the body. Campbell on the ground. The count is on. Can he make his way up? It appears he can't get up. Campbell on the ground. Trying to stand up. And the fight is over. Ryan Garcia with a 7th round knockdown. What a performance. Guys, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. Do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. We're trying to do record number 7. Ryan Garcia tearing up and crying. What a performance for Ryan Garcia. Yeah. Let's go. Another Monday morning episode, Morning MMA with Miller DC. We're going to work on a little track for this morning segment. But for now, guys, thank you for being here. Episode, I don't know, you could call it 3, you could call it 4. All I know is that we're starting every Monday at 10:30 a.m. I see people in the chat stopping through and saying what's up. So thank you guys for the ongoing support. There's plenty to talk about. There's plenty to chat about. UFC 288, a lot of things happened. ONE FC happened this weekend as well too. So got a list of things that we want to discuss, and I would love to hear some of your guys' thoughts. Got a couple video clips that I want to show you guys as well. But a lot has transpired over the weekend. I see Torrin Brown in the building. What's up, Torrin? Welcome to the stream, man. Hope you're doing good. Jesus in the building. No work on Mondays, man. We are now officially gonna stream every Monday at 10:30 a.m. We're gonna try to blow this podcast up, right? We're doing so good with the live commentaries. The next step, the next goal is to blow up, you know, the stream as well too. I think something was playing in the background. Let me make sure nothing is. Because I don't know what is playing. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, I had the dramatic music playing in the background. I don't know why, but that's out of here. So sorry about that. Ferguson being locked up, I believe, hitting 2 cars as he was parked. We'll talk about that as well. Plenty to go on today. Don't be silly, Hito. I had enough time to catch a quick theory video while waiting on this guy. I need to do a behind the scenes video on what really happens and what goes on before one goes live. Like you just don't understand. And I need that clip, the violin clip, to play in between whenever I say things like that. But I promise you, what goes on is absolutely insane, man. I was crawling under my desk for certain things to fix, and you don't even know, but we're here, guys. I remember Trey said Izzy will never be champ again. Listen, if you go by what Trey says, you'll never be successful in your predictions, because that man, and I got to hit him up. Maybe right after this podcast, I'll hit him up and say, what's going on? that we haven't really discussed much. If you guys also, I want to maybe try something new today. The number is 267-545-8096. If you guys want to call in and leave a voicemail on your thoughts on what happened at UFC 288 and the aftermath, whether you thought Cejudo won or Sterling, how you feel about Belal, if you want to leave a voicemail at that number, I will play that live at the end of the stream today and react to what you guys had to say. So if you guys are interested in that, and just let me know in the chat, say, hey, I left you a voicemail at that number, and I will play it on stream, and I'll react to your guys' voicemails and messages regarding UFC 288. So I think that's a cool little feature that we want to start adding and making short clips on that. So keep out on the lookout for that. Torrin Brown says his fighting career is definitely over. Ain't no telling how much time Ferguson about to do. Listen, he has been over the hill. We don't know if the CTE with all the damage that he has taken, but he might be kind of out of it. And Ferguson, in a way, something that I think attributed to his success is that like careless approach to like life. You know, having no coach in order to direct them. He was kind of like the sailor or the captain of his own ship, right? But that comes with pros and cons, right? If you don't necessarily have a mentor. Look at Mike Tyson. Once Cus D'Amato passed away, his life went into shambles. I don't want to kind of portray too much on me saying like I know exactly what it is that has happened with Ferguson, but let's just say he had the skill set, had the physical attributes to be great, and got so far on his own. Imagine how far Tony Ferguson would have got with some proper guidance is all I will say. And I didn't plan to talk about that too much, but maybe we can dive into that. 267-545-8096. If you want to leave a voicemail, let me know in the chat if you did, and I'll play it on stream, and we'll talk about your thoughts on the event. But let's quickly get right into the show on what I wanted to talk about today. And let's narcissistically get into my picks. I went 8-4 on my predictions. I was right about Ribeiro, Aliskerov, Porter. So I started the early prelims hot. Got the Rodriguez one wrong. Chaos Williams, I got right, even though I felt Bedoya won. That was the first robbery of the night, in my opinion. Kennedy and Zechiku against Clark. Beautiful performance. Dober, I got wrong, losing to Matt Frevola. So let's pause there and let's quickly talk about Matt Frevola. He gets the win over Drew Dober, which I thought was impressive. I wrote a couple notes here, kind of poetry in motion on how that played out. Matt Frevola against Drew Dober. Drew Dober was on a 3-fight winning streak, right? All by impressive knockouts. McKinney, Alves, and Bobby Green. Bobby Green was leading the dance until Dober picked up against McKinney the same. Dober had this quality where he would be ahead or he would be behind. His opponent's always ahead, and then he would find a big shot, get the knockout. He has called out PADDY PIMBLETT before in post-fight interviews, and I believe that Dober, and it might not be too late, he might be a star eventually in the UFC, and I think he was rising to that. And if he got the PADDY PIMBLETT fight, it would have been massive. But the man that steals the show is right on the screen right here. Matt Frevola, the steamroller, gets the knockout win against Drew Dober. And now he's on a 3-fight winning streak. And now he is 3 knockouts in a row. So for whatever that's worth, Dober on a 3-fight winning streak until he gets knocked out by Frevola on a 3-fight winning streak. This is what he had to say after the fight, which we'll comment on in a second. Let me raise the volume a little bit.
PADDY PIMBLETT, you absolutely suck.
So let's rewind that a little bit because I know it probably wasn't as loud as it should have been, but here it is.
Suck. Stop. You absolutely in the world.
All right, and it's about to come up right now. Sorry, guys. I want to make sure I play this correctly.
Believe that.
And I'll probably get this video demonetized, so you guys being members and supporting and just watching helps out a lot. But here we go. Listen up.
PADDY PIMBLETT, you absolutely suck. Stop being a and
I didn't expect Frevola to come out and call Paddy the way that he did. And boy, did he seize the opportunity. He says, you absolutely suck. You are a, right? And he goes on to say why.
Let's fight. All right? You're on a 4-fight win streak.
You're on a 4-fight winning streak. They show up the stat of Pavlovich, Cejudo, Frevola, longest active UFC knockout streaks. And Frevola finds himself up there. Cejudo just suffered a loss. So if he gets one more against Paddy Pimblett, will be impressive.
I'm on a 3-fight win streak. You're in the UFC. You can't pick and choose your fights.
You're in the UFC. You can't pick and choose your fights. The interesting thing about that is, I wanted to ask you guys, is it Paddy Pimblett that's picking the fights? Or is it good old Uncle Dana White is my question to you guys. Let me know in the chat. But Paddy Pimblett has been, against Jordan Levitt, he almost lost, right? Against Jared Gordon, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I'm sure Hito loves this topic. Against Jared Gordon, Paddy Pimblett was gifted. It was like a Christmas present out of season. He was gifted a decision, right? So he's still on a 4-fight winning streak, although he doesn't deserve it because I believe he lost to Jared Gordon 2-1. Maybe you could even say 3-0. But he was gifted a decision. Frevola, in a post-fight interview, calls out Paddy Pimblett.
You got to fight who the fans want to see you fight. Let's go.
And Frevola makes a great point. You got to fight who the fans want to see you fight. If Dober would have won on Saturday night, I believe the fans would have, and I'm assuming Dober would have called out Frevola, or Dober would have called out Paddy Pimblett, and it would have been a very interesting conversation on, listen, the fans want to see Paddy fight, you know, someone in the top 15 or the top 25 or someone that is somewhat threatening, not these cherry pick fights that are just perfect for him, right? Frevola gets it done. He says, Paddy, you got to fight the fighters who the fans want to see you fight. I hope, I pray. I'm not too optimistic, but I hope and I pray that Frevola gets a shot. I think it's time for Paddy to fight someone that the fans will be interested in. Not a Jordan Levitt who he almost surprised the masses. Not a Jared Gordon who nobody really asked for as well too. Let's catch up with chat a little bit. Our thoughts on Belal? Boring, says HL.
Yo, shout out to season, man.
Tony Ferguson is the next BJ Penn. Look, listen, it's going all downhill from here, it appears. I like the steamroller, good fighters, likable guy. I agree. And that, back to that fight as well, too. Let's see what else he had to say.
Who wants to see Paddy Pimblett in the steamroller? Let's go.
Gets a loud ovation, a loud response from the crowd.
Let's go, bro. The time is now.
The time is now, says Matt Frevola.
Matt Frevola, congratulations, sir.
Joe Rogan says, congratulations. Listen, I think this is a fight that hopefully we get. And Paddy responded to him as well, too. One thing I want to quickly talk about is the Drew Dober knockout. I have been a stickler on when fights are ended too early. Kobe Covington against Usman, I believe, was ended too early. Adesanya, when he lost to Pereira the first time in the UFC, and I picked Pereira to win the second one, but the first fight in the UFC, I believe that, I believe it was Mark Goddard as well, too, that stopped the fight just a tad bit too early. Just a little bit too early. Now, Dober, he has been notorious. He has repetitively been hurt, been knocked down, where the fight almost looked over. I wish we could play the fight on stream. I'm sure you guys have watched it. It looked like it was over for Dober, but he has come back against McKinney, against Bobby Green. He has been known to do that, get stunned early and come back. I thought, and because he expressed disinterest or he was just bothered once he got knocked out, I thought it was ended a little bit early, but nonetheless, can't take nothing away from Matt Frevola, and he gets the job done this weekend. Let's play it one more time.
Paddy Pimblett, you absolutely suck. Stop being a...
And don't mean to sound like too much of a hater, but one more thing I will say about that clip is, does Paddy Pimblett suck? Is he not as good as people assume or exclaim that he is? Listen, I have been, for lack of better terms, a Paddy Pimblett hater. Let's see if Frevola gets the Paddy Pimblett matchup. If Pimblett beats Frevola, then it's all credit to him, right? then he'll get the recognition he deserves. But he has to get past them. And speaking more on recognition and what they deserve, let's move on to none other than my man Belal Muhammad on this next clip that I had open, that I will open in a second. Kelly King says, we showed up, the DC Fight Club member with the blue glove. Kelly, thank you so much for being here early on a Monday morning. I guess the wife is watching a couple things on how to deal with, we're getting like wasps and other stuff in the background, but it's funny to look at my history, and that's the first thing I see. Got a note here on Belal Muhammad, 520 roughly. So hopefully we don't get the ring of death. But let's play a little bit of Belal Muhammad on what he had to say. If you guys are just catching up, if you guys are just tuning in, Belal Muhammad beats Gilbert Burns, and I have a lot to say about this fight. You guys might hate me for how I feel, but listen, somebody has to be the bad guy.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad.
The stealing of the jacket was incredible, Michael Jordan. We'll talk about that as well, too. Thank you for coming through, Michael Jordan, the GOAT, with the Shaq emblem. HL says, Paddy 3 stars, only 5-star fighter, in my opinion, is Volker Jones. To me, Volkanovski, although losing to Makhachev, is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. I feel pretty strongly about that. Marab versus O'Malley is wild, says Michael Jordan. Listen, him stealing the jacket, he stole the show. He stole the show, and I do have a pick. Speaking of that, we'll reverse back to this, but let me quickly show. The UFC made a post, and Sean O'Malley was quoted to say, "You better be ready to go again soon." Right? What's the #1 comment with 7,000 likes, hearts, and I should have liked it myself, even though Marab has had some underwhelming performances. The #1 comment is "Love my jacket." Credit to Marab, man. Him not fighting this weekend, he did somewhat steal the show. And he took the red jacket, he put it on, he was looking at the crowd. It was a sight to see. But let's go back to Belal Muhammad. I have thought about this long and hard this weekend because the #1 question is whether we should give Belal Muhammad credit. But let's play a little bit. Laughing my ass off. Jacket, man. He says, love my jacket. Over 7,000 thumbs up. And who would have thought, right, after him beating Jose Aldo, people were hating on him. Personally, myself as well, too. He kind of got a win against a legend in a boring fight, right? And then the spam takedowns in his last fight, people were not too high on Marab. But anyways, Belal Muhammad, let's see what he has to say.
Outstrike you. Are you falling in love with your hands a little bit, man?
Check this out.
No, I love falling in love with proving people wrong. Like,
I have been falling in love with proving people wrong. Belal, I had you losing. Let me be honest, right? I had Belal losing. And it's not his fault that Gilbert Burns had a bad left hand. He went for a takedown, I believe, in the first round, and that's how he hurt himself. It's not his fault that he looks like Lavash from Sausage Party. And it's not his fault that fights have been a little bit boring in his performances, but he is on a winning streak, on an impressive winning streak. It's time for me to give Belal credit. Listen, I was talking to this with Beta Quest, right? There's just so much to say. I've been talking about this to Beta Quest on some DMs. People that give Colby Covington credit but don't give Belal credit need to look themselves in the mirror. The reason I say this is because, does Colby Covington deserve the title shot? Let's think about this, chat. I would love to hear your bro is violating. What's up, nephew? How you doing? Welcome to the stream, man. Freaking guy, Isaac Perez, the future golfer, the future Tiger Woods. Listen, people get mad at Colby Covington that he shouldn't be getting the title shot. He lost twice against Kamaru Usman. All right. He beat Jorge Masvidal, but since when was the last time that Colby Covington won by knockout? He has boring performances. Why is he getting the shot? I think it's pretty clear. The UFC has become somewhat WWE-like, right? Where Colby Covington is getting the shot simply because he's an entertaining fighter outside of the cage. He has a Make America Great Again, the hat, the gold chains, the videos with the woman, and shouting out my bookie, having some of the best nicknames in the UFC, right? Calling Ali Abdelaziz, Ali Abdullah Sleaze, right? Calling Dustin Poirier, Kamaru Snoozman, Marty Fake Newsman. He's a clever fighter outside of the octagon. But when it comes to fighting inside the octagon, great fighter, great skill set. The wrestling is almost second to none in the UFC, but he's a boring fighter. So this made me think to myself, me being one of the biggest Belal haters, right? Because he dissed Philadelphia, he dissed New Jersey. That's unacceptable. Let me talk about the bad things that he did in the octagon. Not his fault, but I'm gonna spin back to Colby Covington. Gilbert Burns in the first round hurts his jab hand, his left hand. All he was able to do was throw right straights, right hooks. Dana White privilege, says my guy, Roosevelt Velez. Let's go, Roosevelt. Thank you so much for calling in this past weekend. You guys can call in at 267-545-8096. Let me know if you leave a voicemail, because you can leave a voicemail. I will play it live on stream at the end of this stream today. And I'll about your thoughts on UFC 288. That's the topic at discussion. Belal Muhammad, Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns hurts his jab hand early in the fight. And what did everybody say? This is a criticism that has been put on Belal. He should have went for the kill. And listen, I'm almost going to be a hypocrite myself too. I found myself saying, how are you not able to put out Gilbert Burns? But if you go back to my live commentary, I was a little bit impressed. Belal Muhammad kept Gilbert Burns honest with the kicks to the body. With his jab, kind of stunned Burns. Initially, stuff takedowns. Granted, Burns wasn't able to have much output. Would it have been nice if Belal went for broke against Gilbert Burns and got the knockout win? Absolutely. Would it have been nice for him to have somewhat of a staple performance, knock Burns out cold, calls out the winner between Colby and Edwards, says New Jersey you suck, and stormed out of the state? Would have been nice to see. If you're a Colby Covington fan, I'm here to tell you, you somewhat are forced to be you're somewhat forced to be a Belal fan. Why? Belal, at the end of the day, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I gotta be honest, Belal is a winner. That's what Belal is. It's not flashy when it comes to in the octagon. It's not eye-pleasing, maybe. Belal is, like Colby, a winner. It's going to be a little bit boring. He's going to ride you out. He's going to throw jabs. He's going to keep you honest. He's going to win or edge even the rounds, and he's going to find himself with his hand raised at the end of a fight. But it is not the most eye-pleasing. But at the end of the day, he has put in the work. And if you're okay, I want you to take a close look at yourself. If you're okay with Colby Covington getting the shot next, you got to be okay with Belal Muhammad getting the shot next, even if he wasn't able to put on an impressive performance. Let's catch up with chat. Burns wasn't even fighting. He hurt his jab hand early in the fight. And it sucks because I picked Burns to win. That's not what sucks. I wanted a barn burner, right? I wanted a good back and forth. Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling was a more entertaining fight. And almost every other fight that we saw was more entertaining. But at the end of the day, it was somewhat of a dominant performance for Belal Muhammad. The fact he didn't destroy Burns is ridiculous. Bro didn't even have an arm. You make a good point, but to my point, Belal is a winner. He's not going to threaten himself. And he talked about it in a post-fight press conference. I'm not going to, put myself out there when we know him to be, and he talked with his team, we know him to be a dangerous fighter that's a counterpuncher looking for openings. All I'm saying is if you like Colby, you're somewhat forced to like Belal Muhammad. if you're consistent. Let's go back to what Belal said in these post-fight press conferences. I don't know if this video is going to be taken down because I have copyrighted material. I'm not sure. So what I've seen other content creators do is that they pause in between the fight, in between the video a lot. I think that helps. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go on further with the show. Let me quickly read some messages and then I'll get back to it. Hito says, so is he really a winner if he can't take out a man that was handicapped? He's a winner because he finds a way to win, and is not, again, is not fun, eye-pleasing. But listen, the UFC has become a WWE parade. Poirier being ahead of Dariush for a title shot, where Dariush has earned it. Colby getting the title shot. It's all because Poirier is a bigger star. Colby's a bigger star. So is he really a winner if he can't take out a man that was handicapped, says Hito. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Cejudo fight was so good. I enjoyed it live. Cejudo looked a little bit winded. We'll talk about that later as well, too. Belal and Colby are separated by the fact that Colby makes me laugh. Belal makes me sleep. I wish I had some comments, HL, where it was very funny, the comments that, let me see. No, a lot of these comments were praiseworthy towards Belal, but some comments were, I wish I had them saved. Some comments were, Belal has the ability to put on an impressive performance and me not wanting to watch him ever again at the same time. Things along those lines. So who the fight was so good. Beta says, I'm a little behind in the stream. Damn coworkers bothering me during fight talk time. Yeah, put the earplugs in. Tell them that the Miller DC morning MMA show is on and that they could politely not talk to you for an hour or so. Maybe adding credit to the people who made the clips in the description will help on the re-upload. I could try to do that as well too, because maybe that's a problem. I agree, Hito. We'll talk about Hito and Isaac's comments in a second. Let's go back to what Belal had to say.
2-3 days.
2-3 days.
3 weeks notice, just because.
2-3 weeks notice. I think this is what helps with the copyright talk. We'll see.
Because he said, you win this fight, you're getting the title shot. So now that I have the title shot, whoever has the belt.
And this is to the point that I wanted to talk about as well too.
Like, you don't have no idea what's going to come to you. It's going to be the best version of me that you ever seen in your life.
I've been fooled by that before. I'm not going to lie. I've been fooled by that before. It's going to be the best version of my life. I'm never going to believe Colby when Colby says, I'm going to destroy you in the octagon. I'm going to take your heart out. You know, and I'm paraphrasing how these fighters talk. I'm going to make you bend the knee. I'm going to dominate you from pillar to post. Belal says you're going to see the best version of me. Listen, Belal's going to fight to win. But let's quickly go back to what he has to say about the next fight.
It's going to be the best version of me that you ever seen in your life, because this was 3 weeks notice. Give me 8 weeks notice. Give me 12 weeks notice.
That is somewhat of a decent point. If you give him that long of a notice against the champion, if he's next up, I'm interested. Now, is it going to be the... And I just got to troll him a little bit because he disrespected the 2 states that I'm from. So I'm going to just leave this up while we talk about Belal a bit. I'm interested. As a fight fan, I want to see Belal versus a champ. I can tell you who he has a better chance against, who I can see him beating, who I can see him losing against. Now, let me be honest as well, too. Listen, we're going to have, like, it's going to sound like contradicting statements a lot because we're going to praise somebody and then we're going to kick them down at the same time. We keep it honest here, unlike the watered down other MMA shows, right?
I don't mean no disrespect on that, Henry, but that's, I don't mean no.
Listen, I mean no disrespect. Is Belal going to be... Belal might break a record if he fights for the title next. Belal might break a record for the lowest pay-per-view main event of all time if he fights Colby Covington. Maybe not Colby Covington. If it's Leon Edwards, Colby Covington will sell better. If it's Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad, they might break record for the lowest pay-per-view buys in UFC history. I don't mean to sound like a hater, but let's just call it for what it is. Is it going to be the lowest pay-per-view event of all time? Perhaps. Is me as a fan, as a fight fan, interested? Absolutely. Can Belal beat and become, like, can he beat the champion and become a champion? Yes. If it's against Colby Covington, I will be the first one to tell you that's the fight that I believe I believe Belal could get it done. I think he could nullify the takedowns of Colby Covington. Colby Covington, great wrestler. He takes you down, holds you down. Kind of does what like Cejudo does. Wasn't able to do so much this past weekend, but I can see Belal nullifying the takedowns of Colby Covington, using the jab, heavy leg kicks to the body, even though Colby might catch some of those. I can see, I'm not saying he will, but I can see Belal winning. I can see Belal winning against Colby Covington. But styles make fights, and I can see him losing against Leon Edwards. I believe he was losing against Edwards in their fight until the no contest happened. He's a lucky man. It wasn't no contest. I think Leon would have been on his way to get a win. If it's Leon, I think Leon beats him. The striking is too good. The wrestling will be somewhat non-existent because Leon will stop the takedowns of Belal. He was able to do it against Usman. If Leon goes for a takedown, it'll be stopped by Belal. I think it'll essentially become a kickboxing match. I think Leon wins that. Both fighters standing out of the southpaw stance. Belal does switch up the stances. I was impressed with as well, too. I was impressed with Belal and the performance that he had as far as switching stances, giving Gilbert different looks. It was a little bit boring in certain aspects, but as far as a fighter and his skill set and his improvements, Belal looked great. Will it be the lowest pay-per-view event of all time if it's him and Leon? Maybe, unless it's in London or something like that. It'll at least sell high tickets. Isaac Perez says, lowest pay-per-view event is right, except for the people who want to see Belal rocked. And listen, sometimes that's the best way to sell tickets. Colby Covington, in a sense, you either love him or hate him. But it's never both, in a sense. Fans pay to see him lose. Fans pay to see him win. Belal has to find a way to bring that feeling towards him. And he's tried before. If you look closely at what Belal has done, talking bad about New Jersey, talking bad about Philadelphia, he's trying to become a heel a little bit, but then he smiles afterwards. He's not quite comfortable being a trash talker. But I appreciate the effort that Belal has had in trying to make himself relevant behind the scenes and outside of the octagon. I can respect it. Not everybody's a good trash talker. I see his intent. Roosevelt Velez says, Belal versus Colby would be interesting to me. To me as well, Roosevelt. Especially with Belal being Palestinian. Would Colby bringing up that very touchy Israel-Palestine conflict? Would he go that low? It'll sell pay-per-view, though. Colby Covington was on Submission Radio. I was watching this interview that released a few hours ago. I don't believe I took a screenshot of it. Where I wanted to play a clip where he talked about Belal Muhammad, that is Colby Covington. Colby Covington has accused Belal of being racist. I forget exactly. I believe Belal said something along the lines of Colby Covington got the shot because he's white or whatever. It was something along those lines, and Colby has been calling him out. If imagine a press conference with Belal and Colby, you could almost insert name here, right? With Colby Covington. Like if Colby Covington is on the press conference, you could almost add anybody and it's going to be interesting, right? The press conference, the weigh-ins, Colby Covington, at the end of the day, we got to give him credit for that, right? Imagine Colby and Belal press conference. Imagine even Leon Edwards and Colby. Leon Edwards will make it a little bit of a sleeper, but Colby Covington will sell the show. I believe. What does Belal honestly even bring to the table? Jabs for points? Listen, I'm going to tell you what Belal brings to the table, HL. I hate to be that guy because I got to give him credit, and I don't want to. He brings to the table the ability to win. Is that enough nowadays? It seems like we're treading towards, or we're headed towards, a UFC where it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters how entertaining you are, right? Look at Umar Nurmagomedov in the bantamweight division. He's going to be ducked. Look at Dariush not getting the title shot yet. It has become somewhat WWE-like, I will admit. What Belal brings to the table is his ability to win. Leon Edwards is the same thing. If Leon Edwards lost against Usman in the rematch, not the trilogy, but in that rematch, if he would have lost, he probably would have never got a title shot again. Or it would have been very long. He was on like an 11, 12 fight win streak, something along those lines. What did he bring to the table? His ability to win. That's why he was able to eventually get the title shot. It took him longer than it should have. But at the end of the day, he was able to, and he capitalized with the headshot dead kick. Belal brings the ability to win. And until someone beats him, he's going to inch away at the title. Hito says, or Isaac says first, yeah, he needs more of a villain brand. He does. And he's tried it before. He's just bad at it. He says, New Jersey, you guys suck. And then he kind of like smirks. Then he takes it back at the end of the fight. Oh, I was just kidding, Frankie Edgar. He took a picture of Frankie Edgar. He said, and he kind of took it back. To me, you got to go for broke. If you're going to try to be a villain, speaking of Belal Muhammad, go for broke. Right? Because you can't play both sides, right? He's got to level up. I agree, Isaac. Maybe he should have wore a New Jersey sucks. Look what Kobe Covington did. Kobe Covington in Brazil. Brazil, all you filthy animals suck. He called it like a dirt, whatever kind of country. I forget what the exact words were. Sadly to say, when it comes to the UFC, when it comes to fight sports, half of it is skill, half of it is entertainment. And if you don't bring, in my opinion, right? If you don't bring that entertainment value, you're going to be kind of swept under the rug. Unless you could make your performances in a fashion that they're just not able to be ignored. HL says, it seems like BKFC is now the new stream stand-up fights, always exciting. HL, well, I would love to talk about that some more, but HL, I have said, to me, it's the UFC at the top, right? As far as ticket sales, as far as popularity, what everybody knows about. UFC's up top. This is my prediction that I have said before. The next up is the BKFC. I don't know if you heard me say that before, but I have said that time and time again, so we'll talk about that. UFC saw the one championship fights this weekend and decided to do the exact same things, bringing in the next challenger. Ooh, interesting. You think that's the case? I'm thinking about this like live on stream with you guys, so I didn't even think about that. Now, who had a better performance as far as one championship sold out? One championship, Shatri was giving 50K and 100K bonuses like hotcakes. Maybe they did do that. I'm not sure. Marab stealing Sean O'Malley's jacket. Bringing in the next challenge. Jersey does suck, but that's like the pot and the kettle. Pot calling the kettle black, right? Maybe as well too. Says Beta. Tweaked, says Isaac. But let's move on. I think I had enough to say about Belal Muhammad. Let's see if you had anything else interesting to say in the closing remarks before we move on to some more points. We got to get to the Henry Cejudo thing. But let me quickly get back to Belal Muhammad.
So it's going to be harder for them guys. So if I'm them, I want to fight right away and then, get a quick turnaround right away so they don't have to deal with the best version of me.
I think there's more at the end.
And obviously he got hurt and it, didn't pick up.
It made him overthink the process.
He's talking about the counter punching of Gilbert Burns. And I think that's it. Let me see the closing remarks.
What the heck? Why would I take this fight? I'm here for a reason. God made this happen for a reason.
God made this happen for a reason, so here we go.
His timing is the best timing, so no matter what happens, just trust him.
That's how he ends it. He was talking about fasting during or right after or right before camp. And listen, Belal Muhammad gets it done. We'll stop talking about Hito's favorite fighter, right? We can stop talking about Hito's favorite fighter. What I will say is, was I impressed? A little bit. Tweak. Dana said it was a horrible idea, though. What was a horrible idea, HL, that Dana said? But let's quickly move on to Cejudo, Aljamain, Sterling. I'll be quite honest, guys. Let's get right to it. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that fight. If you guys want to leave a voicemail at 267-545-8096, I will play live on stream towards the end of the stream, and I'll respond to what you guys had to say. But the topic of discussion for the voicemail, if you leave one, is did Sterling actually win, or was it Cejudo, and what's your closing remarks? Nothing like coffee on a Monday morning. All right. If you guys remember, if you guys were here for the live commentary, Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo. I had it personally. Let me know how you guys scored it. Oh, let me actually make a poll on that real quick because I think that'll be interesting to see. Who really won? People might hate that question. I'm not sure, but Cejudo or Sterling? I know people love to say it doesn't matter who won. They raised the hand of Sterling. I would just like to hear your thoughts on that conversation that we can have. Heading into the fifth, I had it 2-2. I had it Cejudo 2 rounds, Sterling 2 rounds. The winner of the fifth round was going to be the winner for me. But anyways, the fifth round comes along, and I thought Cejudo had more output. And when Bruce Buffer starts announcing them, he goes, Judge, I don't know his name, so Judge McCleary or Judge A had it 48-47 Cejudo. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know if there's any signs to this, but usually when they do split decisions, I feel they do, the first judge is the actual winner, right? So Judge A gives it to Cejudo. Judge B gives it to Sterling, right? So he goes, and Judge 3 has it 48-47 for your winner by split decision. The anticipation was killing me. People in the chat was like, man, I thought they were going to give it to Cejudo when they stretched but they go, and still, Aljamain Sterling. Credit to Cejudo. He didn't really give up much of a fight as far as saying, hey, I won. He says I have to watch it over. Judges gave it to Sterling. He says he has to watch it over. He was more disappointed with himself. If you guys see the press conference, Cejudo was more disappointed in himself not dominating. He says, man, you guys don't understand how much of a competitor I am. I appreciated that about Cejudo. He says, I want to dominate, and I didn't do that. And I'm paraphrasing a bit here. You guys could check out the post-fight press conference. He was a little bit disappointed. Sterling looked a little bit confident towards the end. He was jumping on the cage. He gets his hand raised, and Aljamain Sterling gets the job done. Was I impressed with Sterling's performance? Cejudo somewhat was. If you look at the press conference again, he goes, listen, he's a little bit awkward in there. I could see why they call him the Funk Master. And this was a topic of discussion that we had before the stream, right? Where I told you guys, listen, I know Cejudo's great, an Olympic gold medalist, but at the end of the day, he hasn't fought in the octagon for 3 years. It was 2 days shy of 3 years. I wonder if he's going to show ring rust. Now, this is a little bit opinionated. We'll love to see what you guys have to say. Those first 2 rounds, in the last 3 rounds, it appears that Cejudo kind of got a second win. In those first 2 rounds, head held high, looked like he was breathing a little bit heavy, especially in that second round. I believe it had to do with the ring rust. I believe it had to do with him being out for 3 years and Sterling not having any ring rust and fighting. Granted, Sterling didn't look the greatest, but that's credit to Cejudo. They were both able to, for the most part, they had takedowns, both of them, but takedowns were nullified. Cejudo still has those fast twitch muscles, sprawling on the head. What pissed me off about Cejudo, and again, someone has to talk about the good, the bad, the pretty, the ugly.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Listen, what I liked about Cejudo's performance was being able to sprawl on the head, having that head and arm choke, or trying to cradle Sterling. Was impressed. Sterling wasn't able to do to Cejudo what he was able to do against Petr Yan. What was frustrating, and this is the problem with wrestlers in the UFC, and this is a problem with wrestlers in MMA in general. They're able to control you on the ground, right? Hold you down. But they're not able to, for the most part, those fighters that have the wrestling background, they're not able to capitalize. What if Cejudo sprawled on the head of Sterling and was able to land some right hooks to the head while controlling him? And you know what it is? They're so used to controlling their opponents. And if they let that grip go and go for head strikes, they could put, I'm almost sure that in their mind, they say, if I go for head strikes or go for the kill, I'm going to lose the position and then they're going to get back up. But if you just have some sort of ground control, it's not enough to, is not enough to win rounds or to sway the opinion of the judges. So Cejudo did a great job, and I wish I could have yelled at him in there, right? Make him pay for it. You're sprawling on the head, but he was just holding him down. So good job at controlling Sterling at moments. not being quite able to capitalize. Besides the fact, I had Cejudo winning 3-2. Yeah, I disagree with the Weasel. If you guys saw his Who Really Won, he shows this punch landed, this punch didn't. There were times that I'm like, Weasel, you're off on it. I had a 3-2 on initial watch. I would have to watch it again. I had the two going into the fifth. HL says, I like the guy who had 3 years off better than the active guy. This is another thing that people were saying in the chat after the fight. Do I subscribe to their sentiments? No. Do I agree? No. A lot of people were saying, I think Borracho was one of them and a few others. Borracho, love you out there, man, the DC Fight Club member. But him and long other says, I think it was Cole as well too. To be the champ, you have to beat the champ. I've heard people say that before. I believe it was Chael Sonnen that said that is false. I'm not sure if it was Chael, but if it was or whoever it was, I agree with what they had to say. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe to be the champ, you have to beat the champ. As far as you got to have it can't be even, or you can't just beat him by a little bit. You got to blow him out the water. I don't agree with that. Why? A fight is judged round to round. It's not like the judges could look back and say, listen, it looked pretty close. I have to go with Aljamain because he's the champion. No, they judge the fight round by round. If judges had a 2-2 going into the fifth, they have to judge the fifth, and whoever wins that round is the winner. Also, as well, too, I would love to bring to your guys' attention, there was one judge that gave it to Aljamain Sterling in the fifth round, and that was the deciding factor. If that judge gave it to Cejudo, Cejudo would have been the winner. Remember, it was a split decision win. I don't know how you could give that round to Sterling if you watch it back, but one judge gave it to Aljamain Sterling the fifth round. I don't subscribe to that. I thought Cejudo did a little bit more, but I also said in the live stream, it is not a robbery whoever goes to. Really, really close fight. HL says, Sterling and Oliveira have the same issue for me. They keep their face on the mat so much, bad visuals. That's another thing that was a little bit cringy, HL. Do you remember when Cejudo had both hands outstretched on the head, kind of like framing against the head of Aljamain Sterling? And what was Aljamain Sterling doing? I wish I would have thought about this. I wish I would have thought about this before the stream, but I'm allow me to laugh at my own joke for a second. But I thought about this just now. It was Aljamain Sterling on all fours on the canvas. And this is what Aljamain Sterling was doing. I hate that rule. That's something that I like that the ONE FC does. If someone is on the canvas on all fours, you cannot throw a knee to their head. And is it Sterling's fault? No. Does he abuse that rule? Yes, it is quite annoying. Again, don't mean to beat a dead horse. If that wasn't a rule, Petr Yan will be the champ. And he would have maybe been fighting Cejudo. Or O'Malley would have been the champ because he beat Petr Yan when they faced each other. He was doing this. And while he was doing the whole Spider-Man crawling thing, Cejudo couldn't throw a knee. And I'll be quite honest, it was annoying, to say the least. Guys, hit the thumbs up, guys. Let's also, if you guys hit the thumbs up on the video, it helps the channel out immensely. We'll get more viewers. We'll be thrown on people's homepages, right? This rule is absolutely atrocious, but don't hate the player, don't hate the game. I can't blame Sterling for that. What's annoying, and again, when you're in the heat of, it's easy for me to say, it's easy for us to say. I wish Cejudo would have thrown a bomb, a big right hook while Sterling is doing that, because he was able to do that. And if he misses, he misses. That's fine. But I wish he would have done so. But again, to the wrestlers of MMA, they're so used to controlling you down there, but not necessarily striking or making you pay. That's what Colby Covington has made a living in doing. You saw him against RDA, Robbie Lawler, and others. He takes you down, he holds you down, he grinds you out, he wins. But against Sterling, you can't do something like that. Beta says, the only time I agreed with Masvidal is when he was talking about the grappler-friendly rule set for UFC, making it harder for strikers in the promotion. I hate that rule set as far as Aljamain Sterling doing that crawling effect in the middle of a fight. But don't hate the player, don't hate the game. I can't hate Sterling for that. And I would even go further on to say it's Cejudo's fault for not making him pay for doing so. Throw a big right hook, swing towards the back, and try to get your hooks in. You got to do something else. Now, does Cejudo retire after this? I saw, I believe it was an MMA guru that was talking about maybe Sterling, or maybe Cejudo should fight Max Holloway. There isn't anybody else really for him out there. Maybe a star-studded fight between Holloway and Cejudo is the fight that we need to see. Should Cejudo retire? He looked a little bit depressed there, but I have a funny feeling. That Cejudo, when he goes back home, when he takes a little bit of time off, yes, he has a kid and he talked about his family being the most important thing to him. I have a feeling that the fire, and maybe we could go back to this. I have a funny feeling that that competitive fire that Cejudo has, I don't think is going to be diminished. I don't think it's going to be put out. I don't think Cejudo could retire with that bad taste in his mouth of having a loss in his final fight. Personally, because of the competitor that he is, I can't see him doing that. Personally. Now, we have to look forward and we have to move on into what's the future for the champ as well, too. What's the future is this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the future of the bantamweight division. It appears this is what's going to be what happens next. This is what it appears is going to be. Sean O'Malley, Aljamain Sterling. I wonder, my man Zelmay in the building. What's up, bro? Thank you for coming through, for showing love. Always showing love in the chat. Also, by the way, guys, as well, too, 267-545-8096. If you guys want to leave a voicemail on your thoughts on Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, or the aftermath, please do so. Let me actually make sure I have the application open so I can see if anybody leaves one. But I will be responding to live voicemails on what people have left if people decide to do so. I will do so as far as that voicemail right here. All right, cool. Just wanted to leave that option open for you guys. But the future of the division is this, guys. Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, and I made a short little 1 minute and 42-second video. You guys can go check that out. When it comes to Sterling O'Malley, personally, I like the fight. Let me make another poll. I saw the 9 votes. People had Cejudo winning 2 out of 3 of your guys' votes. But I am very intrigued to know who wins next bantamweight title fight. This is a question that needs to be asked. And I know it's early. I know I'm putting you guys on the spot, in a sense. I need like a producer that does everything, all of this for me eventually, right? Because I don't want to take away from the energy of the stream. But Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley. They looked at each other in the octagon. They spoke a little trash, had a little back and forth. I wonder if Merab, I hope he did. He didn't. I think he could have capitalized on it. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Can I pause this? I give him credit for trying to steal the moment. I give him credit for doing so. Merab steals the jacket of Sean O'Malley, and people loved what he did. People loved how he tried to steal the show because his performance-wise wasn't that great as of recent. But Sean O'Malley, Aljamain Sterling, I would love to hear some thoughts in the chat. Who wins that fight? Because stylistically, I think this is one of the most easiest ways to talk about this fight. If it's just a striking match, O'Malley wins easily. But MMA math doesn't work that way. Oh my God, I do have the wrong. Jesus Christ. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're absolutely right. Who wins next bantamweight title shot? Thank you for bringing the title fight. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Aljamain Sterling or Sean O'Malley. You're the GOAT for that. You're the GOAT for that. Mike Dornan, the DC Fight Club member with the red glove. Writes in chat, welcome and good morning. HL says O'Malley will box his head off. I see that in chat. Yeah, if it's just strictly a striking match, I agree. O'Malley will, and that southpaw stance and his craftiness, we got to give credit. Even Cejudo gave O'Malley credit for his striking. Most people have that he's better than what some people imagine him to be because of the tattoos, because of the braids or the rainbow hair. It's hard to take him serious, right? Just like a Jordan Levitt in a sense as well too. But Jordan Levitt put up a good fight against PADDY before the submission. Certain fighters, because of their looks, their appearance, it's hard to give credit to. But at the end of the day, if it's strictly a striking match, Sean O'Malley will piece up Aljamain Sterling. Something Cejudo wasn't able to do. Because in a sense, that almost became a glorified kickboxing match, right? Cejudo just wasn't able to press his foot on the gas enough to outstrike Aljamain Sterling. And Aljamain Sterling, credit to him, made Cejudo pay. The big what if, guys, the obvious question, the elephant in the room. If Sean O'Malley, let's just hypothetically go into this realm of O'Malley, his wrestling improves even more than that fight against Petr Yan that he cheated in. You guys can look back at the tape. Let's get into the realm of, into the world of O'Malley. His wrestling isn't good enough to be offensive with it, but O'Malley is good enough to stop the takedowns of Sterling. Hypothetically, he blows Aljamain Sterling out of the water. He beats him decisively. Even this early enough, I will go out to say this might be a little bit premeditated. I think Sean O'Malley is going to find a way to stop the takedowns of Sterling. I think O'Malley beats Sterling. After what I saw against Sterling and Cejudo, Sterling is great with his scrambling, his jiu-jitsu. I don't believe he's the best offensively going for takedowns. And granted, he was able to bully Petr Yan a little bit, but I think because of the physical attributes, Sean O'Malley being the taller fighter, fighting at range, Sterling is gonna have to get close. And before Sterling gets close, let's just have early predictions, or let's have a little bit fun in this hypothetical. But right now, I will say I'm picking Sean O'Malley to beat Sterling, and I never would have thought that I would be picking Sean O'Malley to become a bantamweight champion. Because let's quickly rewind. When Sean O'Malley first arrived to the scene, people thought he was really good against the lesser known fighters, had great hands. But what were people's criticism towards Sean O'Malley? Their criticism was, if Sean O'Malley fights the top 10, he's gonna struggle. Right? If you guys could remember, that was the criticism. Yeah, he's good, but they got to protect him at all costs, because once he fights the top of the rankings, he's not going to do quite well. Remember, he lost to Chito Vera. His leg almost snapped in half. People thought, there you go. He fought a top 10 fighter, Chito Vera, and he wasn't able to get the job done. He then beats Thomas Almeida. Chris Moutinho, he was playing sock and bop him with him. Rolian Paiva gets that win too. Against Pedro Munoz was a no contest. People were surprised. Let me just quickly give you the history, guys, right? Walk with me here, right? Petr Yan, people thought there's no way he wasn't going to win. What were the odds on that fight? Petr Yan O'Malley odds. If you guys remember, people forget like the way history plays out. Yan and Sean O'Malley. What were the odds on that? Petr Yan was a -305. Sean O'Malley was a +310. Even after the fight, before the decision was given, many felt that Petr Yan won. Sean O'Malley goes from like what, 11th ranked fighter, 12. I forget exactly what it is, but he fights a #1 contender. There's no way he wins this fight. There was some bold fans, some bold reporters, analysts that said, listen, O'Malley has a chance. They were trying to sell that narrative. And if they were saying that, they were proven to be right. O'Malley was a plus 310. If you bet 100 on O'Malley at the time, you would have won $310. The suspense was killing me when it was I believe it was a split decision. Right? So this is how O'Malley has risen up to stardom, to prominence. He beats Petr Yan. I didn't, even if he would have lost, and I said this before, even if he would have lost to Petr Yan, right? If the judges swayed it to Petr Yan, I said, I'm impressed with the performance that O'Malley had. He's better than what I thought he was. This is where we're honest, guys.
I don't mean no disrespect on Henry, but that's...
This is where we have to be honest, where we have to be consistent. Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley. O'Malley gets it done. We fast forward to what we're most likely going to get. And I'm a little bit worried. I don't know why I feel that Sterling is going to want more time off. I don't know if he has the leverage to do so. Hito, surprisingly. And I think Hito has learned his lesson, Hito 609. Because I have been taking that man's money in the bets that we've had. I told him that Sterling was going to be Cejudo. Sterling gets the job done. I told him, what was it the last event that I took his money on as well too? What was it? I think it was UFC 287. No, it wasn't, because I had that fight wrong. Which one was it? I took his money on another fight as well, and I can't remember because it just happens way too often. Nonetheless, I have been taking Hito's money, and he's on the right side for once because he says, I agree with O'Malley winning. Why is that? O'Malley is undefeated. So you're the 17-0 guy, HL. Listen, sometimes for fighters to be great, they have to sort of live in the delusion. Listen, to be great, look at all the fighters in the past. They don't take losses well. I almost think that's a prerequisite, right? To be a star. What we're getting next is O'Malley and Sterling. Back to the conversation. I don't mean to throw more disrespect on Sterling's name, but and I don't feel I'm doing so.
I don't mean no disrespect on Henry, but that's.
I think O'Malley beats Sterling. Why so? That jab hand extended at range. 1-1-2s thrown at Sterling. Sterling has decent head movement. O'Malley is just that much quicker, that much more powerful. Imagine a left straight landing right on the chin of Sterling. Sterling has been hurt before. O'Malley has plenty of time to prepare for someone like Sterling. Sterling is an awkward fighter. Don't get me wrong. If he does wrap his arms around the legs of O'Malley and takes him to the canvas, it could be a short night for O'Malley. But right now, if I had a gun to my head, life on the line, someone were to ask me, if you're right, you live. If you're wrong, you die. Sterling and O'Malley, who do you have winning? I have to go with O'Malley. O'Malley's too tall. I agree. Sterling struggled with a Cejudo, who's like 5'3", 5'4". O'Malley stylistically and physical attributes wise brings something different to the table. Too much range when Aljo is usually the one who's taller and rangy. Very well said, HL. I happen to agree with you. Mike Dornan says, even if Sterling chokes out O'Malley in 2 rounds, which is quite possible, I agree, he still will not get the credit he deserves just because of his style. That's what maybe him and Belal have in common. They win, but maybe they don't win as impressively. Because he beat Petr Yan in a very close fight. He beats Petr Yan by disqualification to get the title. He beats TJ Dillashaw, but Dillashaw's shoulder was compromised. He just hasn't had that performance that fans desire from a champ. He doesn't have the Kamaru Usman was criticized for the same thing. Before him beating Jorge Masvidal, what was the conversation? Usman, the most boring champion in the world. He gets that straight right hand. You see the sweat just explode out of the braids of Masvidal. And that's where he was given the credit that he deserves, Mike Dornan. Sterling hasn't been able to do that. He just hasn't. I think if he chokes out O'Malley, I think he might get it. But he's in not a tough spot because he's a champion at the end of the world. There are conversations that he's the GOAT of the bantamweight division. But at the end of the day, he hasn't had that breakout performance, in my opinion. Is that fair to say? He hasn't been able to have that breakout performance where he gets that right hand against Masvidal that Usman had. That 13-second or so knockout that Conor McGregor had against Jose Aldo. When we think about champions, we think about them being stars. We think about them having the performances of a lifetime. Sterling hasn't been able to do that. Now let's turn the table and play a little bit of hypothetical. We need to be. I need to name the segment like hypothetical. Hypothetical. I don't know. I'll think of a name, but let's have a hypothetical. Imagine O'Malley knocks out Sterling early. Jesus Christ, man. O'Malley is already a big star. And if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. You could leave a voicemail at 267-545-8096, and I will play the voicemail at the end of you guys talking about the fights. And I will respond on live at the end of the stream, and we'll try to bring that feature more often in the future. I would like to bring that feature more, and I think that'll be something fun to do. Hypothetically, let's say Sean O'Malley, jab straight, Sterling out cold the way Usman was out cold against Leon. If you're a UFC, if you write the scripts for the UFC, I don't think you could write it any better. I didn't even think about this until now. Imagine O'Malley knocks out Sterling. Cejudo has been taking somewhat of a decent layoff. O'Malley says, "You really won that fight anyways. Come back, Cejudo, so I can put you out as well too." And then you have an O'Malley Cejudo. That fight could still be made. That fight might even sell better than Sterling and O'Malley. If the UFC scriptwriters, if they really do exist, that's the play. That's the story that you could sell when it comes to the bantamweight division. O'Malley knocks out Sterling, calls out Cejudo. The bantamweight division is alive again. Do you guys like the way that? Do you guys like? I mean, I would personally love that. If I were to be an author as well too, because who else do you like? Sterling, let's say Sterling gets past O'Malley. It becomes a little boring because Merab, he's not going to fight him. Maybe Sterling says, okay, now it's time to move up, and Merab fights for the vacant title or something like that. Corey Sandhagen looks special. Maybe he's a future champion. There's a name that people don't talk about enough that's right here, Umar Nurmagomedov. I think he's going to be ducked, but he's another special fighter. And even said Nurmagomedov as well too. But Umar Rafon had an impressive performance against Yanez, and he's back. There are names, there are storylines that could be made. Maybe the best thing for the UFC is if O'Malley gets it done. By the way, guys, quick little commercial. Quick little commercial. We've been live for an hour and 8 minutes, and to me, it flew by. So thank you guys for supporting. Hit the thumbs up. Share the video. Helps the channel out immensely. I'm enjoying this a ton. So thank you guys for being here. This is one of my favorite things to do every Monday, 10:30. Let's go. Just quickly had to say that. I'm excited to cut some clips and make videos out of it. Beta, remind me of that, and let's talk about it as well too. I wish I could put bookmarks. Anyways, Beta says he has to finish O'Malley. Sterling makes Khabib style appealing. Khabib at least ground and pounded you as far as he made you pay if he took you down. Sterling doesn't necessarily do that. Beta says he has to finish O'Malley or some of that fine UFC judging. Ooh. Breaking news by Beta. Very good point. Or some of that fine UFC judging can erase any good work he did in the night. Shh. Williams versus Bedoya was a robbery. Why? As far as who sells more in the future, it might be Williams. Maybe that's why they lean towards him. Paddy Pimblett, Jared Gordon, one of my favorite ones. O'Malley got the gift against Petr Yan. Sterling finds himself in a close fight against O'Malley. Dana White is gonna point and be like, you know who to go with. Supposedly there was rumors that O'Malley, after Petr Yan, supposedly there were rumors that they were saying like anybody that says it was a robbery is gonna get kicked out. Something crazy. I forget exactly what it was. Somebody please remind me. O'Malley finds himself in a close fight against Sterling. O'Malley maybe gets a nod. HL says, Cejudo, in my opinion, has a way better shot against O'Malley. That I might disagree with, but let's catch up. Same as Islam versus Volk. The height difference will swap to smaller guy. Yeah, it was interesting to see how Volkanovski's size, being the shorter fighter, actually helped Volkanovski. Maybe you're right. Maybe Cejudo being that much of a smaller fighter against O'Malley and having to punch down, and Cejudo maybe getting closer more easily against O'Malley might do him some favors. I agree. You might have a point there, but I think the tougher matchup for O'Malley is Sterling. I do. Sandhagen versus O'Malley is a fight I want to see. Wow. What a man, that'll, especially the improvements that Sandhagen has made as of recent. The masterclass that he gave to Chito Vera. I had Chito Vera winning that night as well too. But Sandhagen impressed me beyond measure. So maybe O'Malley beats Sterling, hypothetically, since we're playing these hypotheticals. Maybe O'Malley beats Sterling. And if Cejudo doesn't want to come back, if Cejudo doesn't find himself fighting for the title against O'Malley, in the best of all possible worlds, if O'Malley beats Sterling, maybe the best next fight is Corey Sandhagen. And does that sell well? I believe so. So there are options out there, even if Aljamain Sterling were to move on. I love Corey, so please don't fight O'Malley. I like both too much. Who says Sean O'Malley wins? I do think the difference between both fighters, although Sandhagen might be crafty enough, switching stances, something that O'Malley does as well too. Sandhagen, as far as skill and IQ wise, might be an edge bit better than O'Malley. I just think the determining factor in that fight is Sandhagen doesn't have the pop behind his punches that O'Malley has. But they are both elite strikers. I like that. I don't mind that that style matchup, or I don't mind that matchup at all. But I think O'Malley gets it done. I wanted to talk about ONE FC a little bit as well too, as far as Demetrius Johnson beating Moraes in somewhat of a boring, not that impressive or entertaining fight, but that's not Demetrius Johnson's fault. Let me know if you guys want to talk about ONE FC a little bit, or if not, we could continue the UFC talk. But we're going to close out the show in a little bit because I think we got a good back and forth talk. I appreciate you guys that we were able to go on for an hour. The beautiful thing is I'm going to be able to end the stream, take a little break, eat some eggs, and get back to making some content. That's the goal on Monday. Hopefully I could put out 2 to 3 shorts today. We'll see. But a great turnout tonight, guys. So thank you guys so much. We had like about 12 people here for a little bit, which was great. We had like 8. We'll keep improving. It'll become the #1 morning MMA show, I believe. Let me quickly just recap ONE FC. And maybe we could play the hypothetical with O'Malley and Cejudo and the future of the UFC. Also, real quick to bring to your attention as well too, UFC 288 did finish. We should be able to cover UFC Fight Night next week. I personally love the card. Anthony Smith versus Johnny Walker, slept on. Rosenstrike versus Almeida, not too bad of a fight. Ian Gary versus Daniel Rodriguez, I love the fight on paper. Ian Gary got touched up quite a bit, even stunned in his last fight. I was impressed how he was able to take shots and give them back. Also, share the video, guys, as well too. I truly do believe that this will blow up little by little. Our live commentaries have been doing great. We had over 100 viewers in our last live commentary. I believe the morning MMA show will pop out as well too. Let's compete with morning combat MMA Hour. I know they're huge, and I know I'm a small fish compared to those sharks in a sense, but I almost want to say, I'm not gonna say what I initially thought, but I just want to say like let's put in that work and make a fight happen for ourselves as far as the competition. Ian Gary looked decent. He gets hit a lot, but this fight night is great. Might even perform better as far as entertainment value than UFC 288. I like that fight on paper. Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill, not a bad one as well either. And Tim Means versus Alex Morono. Morono, listen, as far as a striker, I love what I saw. So guys, please share the video afterwards and let people know this is the #1 MMA commentary that people can listen to while they're in the car, while they're at work. Let's go. They will meet each other at some point. I agree. Best MMA content on YouTube, bro. Thank you so much, AHL. Best kept secret. Ray Melinda says you better. What's up, brother-in-law? Thank you for the 20. You didn't have to send that on the past weekend. So I appreciate you, man. We're about to close the show in a little bit. What I will say is ONE FC, although the main event wasn't the most exciting, I have my notes here that I did not mean to show, so let's quickly get out of that. But I love that Frevola called out Paddy Pimblett. I love that Marab kind of stole the show. But ONE FC, real quick, Shatri, the owner of ONE FC, giving $100,000 to Ratang. Ratang, Muay Thai, being one of the most entertaining fighters. I'm excited to see what they have next. Stan Fairtex, do you guys remember the knockout that Stan Fairtex had in her last fight? It was one of the most beautiful sequences that I saw. It was a left knee to the body. This is not a good video to play. Can this one be any better? Why do they not even show the knee? Like, that's part of the beauty of that knockout. Let me see if I could find it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see. It's not that either. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. I guess we have to play this and just make the most out of it. Out of the breakaway, right? Out of the breakaway, she landed a left knee. Right kick to the body that folded Anderson. She goes for the kill. She gets the win. And this is how she finishes. But that sequence, listen, her striking, her Muay Thai, if she had some wrestling, I don't know if she's going to be able to, if she ever found herself in the UFC to nullify the takedowns, doesn't matter. I'm sure she would improve in the meantime. But that knee to the body, right kick to the liver, they have some stars over there. Stan Fairtex. Demetrius Johnson appears to be coming back as well, too. Ratang. If I had to put it in a list, the top 3, I would say the UFC. I have to put bare knuckle fighting right under that. I think they're going to be the future, and maybe ONE FC right under that. We'll see how it all plays out. But their fight card on Friday was extremely entertaining. How they have grappling matches in between. It's not just MMA fights. It's grappling matches, submission matches. It's Muay Thai fights, Ratang, and then it's MMA fights like Demetrius. And then let's see if they could sign more stars. But I personally think it's going to be somewhat of the future. So keep out on the lookout for that. We will be covering more ONE FC, more bare knuckle fighting. This will be this weekend, Saturday, Jairzinho Rosenstrike versus Almeida. So keep out on the lookout for that. We'll be covering that. I'm about to get out of here completely and genuinely enjoyed doing this on Mondays. I'm going to try to make some clips out of it. Support the videos. Thank you for the good turnout today. #1 commentary channel on YouTube. We're going to get out of here. God bless. Good night. If you guys have any ideas or any, any advice on what videos to make next, please let me know in Discord, on Twitter, all that. Appreciate your guys' support. You guys can, I did not spell that right at all. Kickboxing fights, not just Muay Thai. Yeah, they mix it up quite well. So I personally enjoy it. We've been live for an hour and 90 minutes, which is great. I think it's going to have great replay value. We've been getting good views after the videos have posted. So thank you guys once again. #1 commentary channel on YouTube. We've been killing over 100 viewers last weekend. Let's keep it going, guys. God bless. Much love. Feel free to message me on Instagram or anything. And with the support with that advice. I'm going to be making some shorts. I'm going to go and work on some content. If you guys have a video advice or idea, please let me know, because I could use all the help that I can get. Thank you for the DC Fight Club members. Thank you for the support, the love. I repeated myself quite enough. We'll be back soon. So I'll see you on the next one. Beta, HL, been rocking with me since the beginning of the episode. Mike Dornan, Ray Melendez, Beta Quest. Much love. God bless. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you soon. Peace.
I'm the best ever. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
Yo, bounce guy, go off.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champions of the he wants.
Wilder's in a world of trouble, closing seconds. Can he weather the storm here in the third round?
And of all the superlative.
Big right hook, lands flush for Cambosos, and that knocks down Teofimo Lopez. We have ourselves a fight. Khabib Nurmagomedov gets a triangle choke from up top. Gaethje's out, and the fight is over. The triangle choke for Khabib Nurmagomedov. And Porter gets knocked down. He gets knocked down again. 10th round TKO win. Left uppercut, and then knocks out Leo. It appears he's out cold. The fight is over. It was a counter left uppercut, and just like that, what a left uppercut. I did not see that coming, ladies and gentlemen. I will have to admit, what a fight.
Nice celebration or a 3K video. I don't know, man. To hit 3,000 subscribers and like
Right hook to the body for Campbell. Left hook to the body for Garcia. And that knocked down Campbell. It was a left hook to the body. Campbell on the ground. The count is on. Can he make his way up? It appears he can't get up. Campbell on the ground. Trying to stand up. And the fight is over. Ryan Garcia with a 7th round knockdown. What a performance. Guys, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. Do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. We're trying to do record numbers saying Ryan Garcia tearing up and crying. What a performance for Ryan Garcia.